Passionate Living on WBBZ TV is sponsored by Dr. Todd Shatkin, Western New York's leader in general and cosmetic dentistry, located at the Aesthetic Associates Center, 2500 Kensington Avenue. Online at drtshatkin.com.
Hi, welcome to Passionate Living. I'm your host, Kat Miller. Today we have a very special show for you. I'm on the Niagara River, the Mid-River Marina, here in Western New York, which is a great place to be on a really hot day. And we get to show you our favorite segments from a season for this month of August and early September. And today we have some really special people I can't wait to introduce you to. The first is Christopher Nyergas. Christopher is an author. He consults for shows like Naked and Afraid, and he runs a school of self-reliance in Los Angeles, California. So we're going to get to talk to Christopher from his home there. Next, we're going to meet an amazing woman, go to Brooklyn, New York, and join her at her place of business, which is a really fascinating place to be. She combines her love of food and books and talks about how she not only made it through the pandemic with her business, but how she ended up flourishing because of her love of her community. But first, I get to share one of my favorite segments I've done with my niece, Rozina, who is a great co-host. But there's one thing you should know about Rozina: she does not like bugs, not even a little bit. So this hike with her through the woods before we have some very delicious ice cream at Sweet Jenny's is a little bit on the humorous side. So we hope you enjoy today's show. Buckle up, get comfortable for the next half hour, and join us on our journey into passionate living. So Rozina, we're gonna go on a hike today.
Yeah.
I know how much you like bugs.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Like right there was an example. So I thought getting out in the outdoors might be some really good therapy for us.
Yeah.
Bug therapy, right?
Okay, sure.
So anyhow, I brought some survival elements. I brought water.
Good, we're gonna need that.
Because you know how much I love plastic bottles.
So glass.
Glass,
great.
Recyclable water.
Okay.
I brought sunglasses so I could look cool. You have your sunglasses, right?
You didn't bring me sunglasses?
I guess only I get to look cool. Okay. Now, I brought us a slingshot.
How's that gonna help us?
Because like if we get in a survival situation and we're starving, we get squirrels.
Squirrels?
Okay. Well, clearly you're not with me on the survival thing. Now, you talk about cool. This is going to be the really cool part of our hike.
Oh my God.
It's my Daniel Boone hat. No raccoons were hurt in the making of this hat, by the way.
This is
going
to help us how?
Okay.
How is this going to help us?
One more really important thing. I brought a harmonica. Because like when we're sitting around the campfires at night.
What campfire? We're going to be hiking for an hour.
Don't you think? Like for campfires?
We won't have a campfire.
Oh, all right. Well, anyhow, this is what I grabbed on the way out the door because I thought it was all good survival stuff.
And you have no food?
Well,
no Band-Aids?
I'm sorry. Were those
but you have a harmonica.
And a slingshot.
Because that helps.
Well, I guess we should just get to this hike.
Okay. Ow! Oh my God, was that a leaf? Ah, there's a leaf.
All right, Rozina, we're going in. So when we go on a hike, maybe wear jeans and not white shoes.
They're dirty anyway.
Oh, you're gonna get dirtier.
That's okay.
Okay.
Laundry machine, that's what they're for.
Look at the water, isn't it gorgeous? Okay, Rozina. So
this is not a good idea.
I just think this log is begging us to walk across
This is not a good idea. Okay, that's fine. You go first.
Oh boy. Okay. Here we go.
Oh, Jesus.
I think I'm stable. probably should do it in bare feet, but
Oh,
I'm almost across. How you doing, Rozina?
if this is how I die.
I don't think you're gonna.
Don't come back while I'm on here. No!
Yeah. You're like, it's like a foot of water. If you die in this, we're in big trouble.
Oh my God. This is where you lost my shoe?
This is where I lost your yellow shoe that
Yeah.
I loved so much.
You loved.
Yeah.
It's my shoe. You go first.
All right. Now, we could take the low bridge, or we could take the high bridge.
If it snaps, that is.
This is kind of fun, Rozina. I think you should do it.
I'm not gonna bounce on it
What?
because I don't have a death wish.
Where's your sense of adventure?
There. Does that make you happy?
Yeah, it does actually. Speaking of bridges, there's a bridge in these woods of Amherst State Park. It's made of our front porch.
Yeah.
But we
Pretty
can't
cool.
find it so far, have
No. And I'm not sure we want to keep looking.
we? We do. It's a quest, Rozina. We'll have to find the bridge.
We'll come back next time.
Oh my God, Rozina. I'm so tired
I know.
and so
Me too.
thirsty. We need food and water.
Or ice cream.
Oh my God, look!
I know.
An ice cream place.
Yeah.
It's like an oasis in the middle of a desert. Let's go.
Okay.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. This is a cool place.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a historic mill, but inside we have ice cream, cool drinks, chocolates.
Oh my gosh, we just took the longest hike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really intense.
Well, come on in.
Oh, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
Now, is this your place?
Yeah, these 3 buildings are ours. Yeah, and they're
I'm-
210 years old. So.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm Kat, and this is my niece Rozina.
How are you?
And what is your?
Howard.
Howard. It's nice to meet
Oh,
you,
thanks.
Howard.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks. Wow, this is. Could you show us this place? We'd
Sure.
love to.
I mean, you could start upstairs at the comic book store if you want. It's
wow,
up to
you have a comic book store
Yeah.
and ice cream?
Yeah, just
This
head on
is so
upstairs.
cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Wow, Howard, now clearly you are passionate about comic books.
Yeah, comic books, toys, games. We like collecting. We have people out for signings and autograph opportunities when the virus is
Wow.
not around.
Yeah, this is super cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, have a look around. There's a
Well,
lot of
thanks.
fun stuff.
How did you get started in all this?
Oh, which? The ice cream, the chocolate, the comics, it's all different.
All of it. Well, let's start with the comics.
Oh, well, I've been collecting my whole life. We're big comic book fans, so, and then I had my kids a few years ago, so that's kind of carried on. So it's one of our passions. It definitely made me a voracious reader.
That's great.
Mhm.
So comic books were your launch into reading.
Yeah, as a kid, yeah, for sure. I grew up downstate in New York City. I wouldn't have been such a good student if it wasn't for comic books.
That's actually a great testament to
Yeah.
comic books that
Yeah.
they're.
And then a lot of times we would sell our chocolate at conventions, and we get to meet people and trade the chocolate for signatures or, you know,
Wow.
products. So yeah, it's a lot of
That's
fun.
wonderful.
And we buy old toys from people's collections, and we sell a ton of stuff all the time. So.
Wow.
But you said you were in need of a cool down. If you want to go down for ice cream or a drink.
Oh, let's check that out. Now, what makes your ice cream and chocolate different?
Well, I was just gonna say because you know, everything's made here on site in the mill, but
Oh,
also
so you
because
make everything right here?
everything, all the chocolates,
Wow.
all the ice cream, right in the kitchen, which you'll be able to see in the window in the hall where we walked in. But I think just the fact that we're like a family, and then my family, like my kids, make it special. So
And who is this little guy?
this is Carter,
Hi,
right?
Carter.
Say hi.
Tell me a little bit about the building, Howard.
Well, the building's 210 years old. It started as a timber mill, but had a lot of iterations over those years. So grist mill, feed mill, cement mill, and then for a long time cider mill. But the village actually grew up around the building, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was built by Jonas Williams, Williamsville, and then sold to the Miller family, and it only stayed in one family till '05 when the village bought it, and then I bought the buildings in 2016. So.
That's wonderful. And you have everything here, right? You have ice cream,
Yep.
comic books.
Yeah,
what
ice
else?
cream, comic books, our karate dojo, my law office, everything is right here on site.
And how did you get started with ice cream?
Well, so when I was growing up, I worked a lot of jobs, and making ice cream and chocolate was one of them. And then, unbeknownst to me at the time, because I was still young, my wife was kind of growing up the same way, but here in Western New York, and she learned ice cream and chocolate as well. So when we got together, we already had the knowledge it took. And Jenny's had been around since 1985, but we bought it about 11 years ago to keep it going. So, but yeah, have a look around.
What a great upbringing for Carter. He gets
Oh, yeah.
to,
He's a
to
lucky
live
kid.
in the passions of you
Comic
and
books,
your wife.
ice cream, chocolates.
I know, right?
Yeah.
This is like the perfect
Ah,
childhood.
well, I'm glad you wandered in.
I am too. Oh my God, Rozina. This was so worth the hike.
Yeah, it was.
Man, I know there were a lot of bugs. It was treacherous for you out there.
Oh yeah. Ow! Oh my God, was it a leaf?
And it was like life-threatening at moments with the bugs.
Yeah. Oh, there's an ant. There's an ant. Oh my God.
But it was worth it, wasn't it?
It was.
To get the ice cream at the
Yeah.
end. So now I know how to get you out into nature and develop a love for bugs through ice cream. Maybe we could do some chocolate-covered bugs?
No.
No?
Nope.
All right. Maybe that's pushing a little too far.
Yeah.
All right. We'll deal with the ice cream.
Okay.
Well, cheers. This is so amazing.
So today I want to introduce a very special guest who is a dear, dear friend of mine from many lifetimes. And Christopher Nyergas has written 22 books. He's been teaching self-reliance for over 45 years and is just one of the most amazing souls you want to meet. You definitely want to be out in the woods with him sometime and have that experience. And he's done a ton of television through the years. I remember seeing him on the X Show one time. I think you were skinning a rattlesnake on the streets of Santa Barbara, and you're working with Naked and Afraid now, and so much more. But Christopher, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Catherine, for inviting me. You know, I remember when X Show called me. That was a Fox TV show, and I thought it was a great concept. I had already been teaching survival skills for some 20 or so years. And they wanted me to show some of the outdoor skills, but we were not in Santa Barbara. We were in the streets of Los Angeles.
Oh, I thought when you skinned that rattlesnake, wasn't in Santa Barbara. That was in LA.
Everything was pretty much in downtown LA.
All right.
And there would be people walking by in suits screaming and so
I turned on the TV one day and there you were on the street.
There were no survival shows back then, remember?
Right,
so
right.
This was just a little segment on one of their talk shows called the X Show. The Man Show was a knockoff of the X Show.
Right.
And so my role was just to do like outdoor nature things in the city and pretend that I'm in the woods. So I'd be doing a map and compass and going across the crosswalk. One of my favorite ones is I was doing some animal tracking. And so I'm crawling along the street. And then there was a center divider on the street. And I'm crawling along trying to sniff and track whatever animals there. And people are honking and screaming. And it was actually a lot of fun. I was barefoot, of course.
Totally see you doing that.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. And then there was Huell Hauser. That was very, probably one of the best TV things that I can recall doing, because Huell was so authentic. And for people who don't know Huell Hauser, he was like California's leading, what can I say? He did features about every place and every person of significance in the state of California. He'd go to all of the historical places, go to all of the old restaurants. And we did a show starting in downtown LA. We went there because that was where the Young Village was. The Young Village is pretty much just outside of Alvera Street, or Little Tokyo, which is where LA began. LA began as an Indian village,
Wow.
And then the Spanish came in, and there was really a pretty terrible history in many ways. But so we found a vacant lot, and we spent most of our time on a vacant lot, and the freeway's right next to it. We collected all kind of herbs and medicines and foods. And then we went up to Dodger Stadium area and collected some more. And we made a little meal for Huell Hauser. And he seemed to be really blown away.
So now, what would you tell a viewer? Like, if they were to be going on a big hike or just hiking in general, and they like to be outdoors, what are the skills that they should learn? What are the ones that you really would be good to have in your tool belt of knowledge going out?
Consult a map. If you're going to go very far from your car, consult a map just to see what's out there. I've gotten lost in high school on places where there was a Y fork and I didn't recognize it. I was miles course, I had a backpack full of stuff, so I was never in any danger. But it's real easy to get, and most people today don't carry gear. They go out in flip-flops and a tank top because I'm going to be back in a short while. So the number one, consult a map. Tell somebody when you're going to be back. And it doesn't hurt to always learn about plant life. Go to botany lectures, study it online, take classes online. However you can learn about the flora of your area, the useful flora.
Right.
And then I always tell people you should carry a Swiss Army knife, just one of these guys. It fits in your pocket. There's a knife, there's a saw, there are scissors. So Swiss Army knife is a must-have. And this is one of my Bic lighters. This is a Bic lighter that we pack in, cover in duct tape. So you don't know what you're going to need the duct tape for, but you will need it.
Right.
And then, so you want a fire and you want a knife. Those are the most fundamental. And then I always suggest carry some twine, a little ball of twine or parachute cord just for tying things up, getting across the river. Parachute cord will, hold a lot of weight. You've done a lot through television through the years, and you're working with Naked and Afraid now, correct? What capacity are you working with them? All of the contestants, well, we've been on hiatus since COVID. Right. And I think they're going to get started up again. But I would be, for a couple of years, I'm the person, one of the initial people you talk to who I give them, there's a score you get called a PSR. Yeah. Well, I give them that score after an interview. And so basically I talk to the contestants. I have 6 or 7 categories that I rate them by. I ask them questions. They tell me their background. They want to get on the show. There's no pay. I mean, there's pay, but it's not really they're not doing it for the money. And so they're always exaggerating. I know they're always exaggerating how well they can do something. And I'm thinking, I have all this experience. I wouldn't want to go naked to a place I've never been to before. I would not want to go naked. Well, what would I? They've asked me several times, and I'm thinking, you'd have to bring the price way, way, way up before I'd even start thinking about it. I'm not sure I'd want to go naked into a place I did know. Think about it. 2 to 3 weeks. Right. You have to find your own food, shelter, everything. None of them make clothes. I've taught them how to make clothes, how to make shoes, how to make traps. Most of them don't make clothes. I would make clothes right away just as a comfort level. Now, do you work with them before they do the show? Very few, but some of them I spend half a day with. Right. And we go through fire, we go through weaving, we go through a number of real basic skills. But keep in mind, they get to choose one thing: a pot, a knife. So those who are smart take a knife, some take a fire starter. So I can't, I'm not teaching any modern skills with modern equipment. It's all what you can do with rope, what you can do with wood, and because the plants are going to be different if they're going into Central America or somewhere. I only talk about plants in the most generic sense. Right. How to catch fish, maybe, how to set traps. So I cover real basic things that theoretically can be applied anywhere. Christopher, thank you so much for being on the show today and for sharing your amazing wisdom with us. And I just love having you here. Thank you for inviting me. And I hope we meet up again soon. I hope soon. Take care. All right.
You're right that the only way to survive is to change, and I felt that not just in March 2020. I felt that in October of 2015 when we first opened. Right. You know what I mean? I remember the first year I was just throwing everything at the wall, going, let's try this, let's try this, let's do this.
Paige, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
This is the coolest place. I was walking around. Tell me how you started this.
Well, I kind of always wanted to have a bookstore, and then I went to Sicily around the age of 19, came back completely inspired. I had met my family there for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And my way of connecting with them was cooking Sicilian food. And so I started collecting Sicilian cookbooks, like cooking since I was a little kid, and I basically just tried to like roll all of my favorite things into one place.
So you're a creative force of nature.
Oh, I don't know, but
I'm going to describe
it does feel like a force. Like there is a force that's like forcing me to do all this stuff, and I don't know where it's coming from. It's a deep mystery, but I don't know if I'm a creative force of nature. But there's something going on propelling me. Yes.
Wow. Tell me, what is you? It's a bookstore.
Yeah.
It's a food store.
Yes.
It's all your passions.
We have in the store both shelved together new and vintage books, which felt important to me to kind of have everything together and not also only have new books, but to also have things that were, you know, old community cookbooks and pamphlets and things that were out of print. And then also we've got a lot of Sicilian and Italian imported foods that are of the finest quality, like the kind of stuff that, you know, it's a little pricier, but when you have it, it's like experiential.
So you take the guesswork out of it for people. They don't have to experiment and try a lot of different items. You have the best items here. That's great. When it comes to your cooking, you don't mess around.
I don't mess around. The thing I love about cookbooks are that they're so personal, and so I just cooked the food that I grew up with and the things that I love to make, and that was Sicilian food, and so that's the cafe. So it's a Sicilian cafe and a bookstore. And since the pandemic, we've also expanded into a grocery.
Wow.
And we're also doing events.
Well, because I think that was the secret for people that had to go through the pandemic as entrepreneurs. If you didn't get creative, if you didn't change it up and roll with things, you weren't going to make it through financially. And you changed it up. You started doing other things here that helped to bring people in.
Yeah, but I think that you're right, that like the only way to survive is to change. And I felt that not just in March 2020, I felt that like in October of 2015 when we first opened, you know what I mean? Like I remember the first year I was just throwing everything at the wall going, let's try this, let's try this, let's do this. And so when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, people need food, like let's get them groceries. Like there's no fresh produce right now in a place that feels safe for people to go. Like they didn't want to go to the wonderful like grocery stores that we have in the neighborhood already because it was all indoor spaces, and they hadn't quite pivoted yet to figuring out how to deliver groceries in this way that made people feel safe.
So the question is, the million-dollar question. There's a young person who has these passions, or any age person who has these passions, and they want to tie them together and do something, that drive, they feel it, and to do it. What would you tell them?
Well, I think that you should first of all not worry about what sort of the path that society tells us is the path to get there. If you're really passionate about something, but you feel like there are these sort of like mental barriers that are stopping you, or even just like experience barriers, or it's just, or if you feel like you have to go up some kind of ladder, like get rid of that. And then what you do is, I mean, like what I did was I took so many free, I didn't have any money, I took so many free classes through the city. So I looked up every single city and municipal resource that I could find, and I had no idea how to start a business. I remember taking the class, like 10 steps to starting your own business. I probably took that 10 times because like I could not, it was so boring. Like there's so much information, like just about, you know, getting, incorporating and all the sales tax information.
And so you just took all the free classes you could and then just went for it.
Yeah.
I once had a girlfriend say to me, you know, I was telling her, well, come on, just do it. She's like, well, you're lucky. You're not afraid of anything. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm afraid of something every day of my life, but I do it anyhow. Yeah. And that's like when you're putting it out there in the world. You know, I go onto a set and I'm like, okay, is this going to work? Are the lights going to work? What's going to happen? But you just do it, right? And
you have to follow the fear, because that's like the areas where you're going to grow.
I always said it's a Geiger counter for where the juice is.
Yeah,
like, because most people don't go there. And when you get on the other side of that fear, that's where all the good stuff is. Yeah, totally. But I love how you used your passions to really rise up for the community, to help the community during a difficult time.
I mean, I think, like, I love the way that you're telling your people's personal stories, and I feel like that's kind of, for me, even though I have a space, it's really about the relationships and the people that we meet, and everything's become much more vulnerable and personal, and I've even been like a little bit on social media, just more sharing my authentic story, and I feel like, you know, like that's what it is. It's like we're kind of taking off the masks of who we are, and
taking off the masks. I like that.
It's a little on the nose.
Good metaphor.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what inspired me when the whole pandemic started, and you know, here I am back in Buffalo and running the station, and the owner was like, yeah, do a show to lift people's spirits, because I was feeling so helpless. I wanted to do more to help. And I'm like, I could do that, but you, beautiful lights, people like you who are doing this work, living your passions, really stepping up for the community, even in these difficult times, it makes all the difference in the world. And I love people knowing that, because it's an inspiration to everybody. Oh, well, Paige, thank you so much. Oh, you are amazing.
You're so sweet.
You too. I love it. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Passionate Living. I want to thank our generous sponsors, Dr. Todd Shatkin and Associates. Their generous support makes this show possible. Make sure to join us each week on Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. Also, you can go to passionateliving.com to see past shows, as well as our YouTube channel, passionateliving.tv. Most importantly, thanks to you, our extraordinary viewer. This show is a labor of love for everybody who helps to produce it each week, and I am so honored to share this adventure with you. And remember, until next week, there's no one in this world like you. Your smile, your personality, your brightness for all things that inspire you is so unique. Let your light shine as brightly as you can, as the world definitely needs you now more than ever. I'm sending a big hug to each and every one of you watching this evening, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Passionate Living.